Welcome to the mid-round 11 review. It's George from Fantasy Take TV, and in this video we'll go over how the team is travelling, touch on a few games that have happened so far. Probably watched about 2.5, I think, so I still can speak about some games and touch on a few topics for this week. And yeah, so how we're going this week, all our trades were, I'll show them. So they did change from the video I did, but I always post them on Twitter, so if you're ever wondering what I've done, you can check Twitter for that. So we decided to trade Oliver because of the priority we put on Sicily. We'll get to him in a second, but yeah, captaining him was fantastic and very happy with that. But it's a bit of paper over the cracks for the coming weeks. We traded in Humphrey over Simpson, and I wasn't sure on this, but I figured the two North boys, Wardlaw's had his injury issues, low tog, but I think he'll be good. Ford is poor VFL numbers, not too sure how he'll go, so he might be one to look at next week, but I don't know if he's sub risk or not, or if is he going to score for me in the buys. I wasn't sure, so whichever one of those two looks most appropriate. I'm thinking probably most likely Wardlaw. We'll grab them next week, just the one, and we'll secure Humphrey, whose CBA looks fantastic, great buy, massive negative break even. So we'll go Humphrey and pay up for him. I think these trades were fine. Humphrey a little bit lucky. Got the goal at the death. Must have got about almost 30 points for that. So we'll take that. But yeah, I wouldn't have mind holding Oliver, but we were in trouble for next week, so we didn't have much choice. And I guess the main thing is, I think, Sicily would have been heavily traded in, I imagine, given the matchup and people trading Oliver. I think he'll be suspended looking at the replay, but I don't know. If I had to guess, he would be, but I'm not the MRO. I don't really pay much attention to the MRO unless it's a player that I have. So I guess out of your control now. If he's suspended, you hold and you just cry a little bit, but at least he's given us this sort of scoring captain, which is great. Atkins, absolute disaster. At least he's made us 100k and been okay on field for us, but he lost his role. I think it's not really surprising, but it didn't cross my mind that this would happen, that he'd have a role change, because I guess they should know that he's not AFL level in any other role, whereas at half back he can kind of hide his deficiencies, but maybe they just had enough of him chipping it around and looking for cheap marks and stuff, so they've taken him out the role. He's no good in this role, so he'll be a trade next week. If he plays, I might hold for one, because I'll probably have to, but if not, I think he'll be dropped, but fingers crossed, we'll see. So yeah, disaster. Steele, disaster. Day, disaster. Day's putting up the disposal numbers, but not too sure. And then Steele, I'll speak about him on the video tomorrow. I don't think you bring him in, but if you have him, I still think there's a reasonable chance he comes good, put it that way. So if you're really strapped for cash, you could go for it, but I don't know. I can't explain why he played bad this game. He looked poor, wasn't moving super well. So is that the knee? Is that the shoulder? I think the shoulder's fine, but the knees maybe is a bit of a worry. Had lots of strapping on it, but I don't know. He needs the buy, so fingers crossed. I think he probably just avoid, to be honest. But I think he'll be okay for the rest of the year. But top 8, no. Marshall English, I guess Darcy's the big one. Look at Briggs. If you have Darcy or something like that, do you bring in Briggs to R3? I definitely think you should if you can. And then forward line, all commons, who really cares? I guess it's a big watch on Sheasel. So yeah, we'll go more in depth, but just 1, 2, 3. And it's repeat offenders. Sicily, Steele has been a bit dodgy for us. Sinclair's been up and down, and then Day's been crap for us. So it's the same guys letting us down, and then you want the turnaround, but you're not confident that it's going to come on any given week. But it is what it is. Sinclair's the one that surprises me that he puts in these shockers, but Steele and Day, I'm not too surprised given what I've seen. Anyway, moving on. We'll touch on Sydney versus Carlton just briefly. So Jake Lloyd was good. I think he's a solid D6 sort of option. I think he probably is like a cogs tier sort of player in that mold. So I think he's alright for low 500s if you want him. I don't think he's top 6. I don't think he's too far off. In fact, the way Sinclair's going up and down, he could actually sneak into the top 6. Warner was good. He's fun to watch, Blakey. Gordon solid. And Francis, probably a no-go. I think he's gone up in price anyway. Andrew, no good. Surprised he wasn't subbed off. 42 Tog and not subbed. Maybe he was subbed off at the end. Just doesn't have the vest. With Hickey, he started in the ruck, but with Hickey in the team, I don't think you can go there. Now looking at Carlton, the weird thing with Doherty is he started forward, plays a bit of midfield and goes back. For whatever reason, Sard has dropped off the face of the earth. We saw Newman get injured this game, so McGovern, I didn't think McGovern looked that good, but it does seem that Doherty's picked up a lot of the slack that was otherwise going to, Sard and McGovern and Newman and all that earlier in the year. So I think, he looks like a fine option. Looks like a top 6. I think, he's probably ahead of Sinclair the way he looks, but it's a bit of a weird one, just playing all over the place. Walsh probably underscored, thought he was better than that. Cribb's injured, I guess. He didn't look that good anyway, so he's probably a trade if you can. I think you're going to leak too many points there. Just his form the past few weeks, pretty concerning. You do wonder if he's playing injured. Hewitt injured, Holland's injured. Yeah, they got injuries everywhere, so I guess if you have Chincotta, you just hope he comes back for next week. Saints Hawthorns, I did watch this game. This was like Sicily basically outscored the other 5 players I had in this game pretty much as captain. So looking at the Saints, I have to scroll all the way down here to find relevant players. It's ridiculous, apart from Rowan. Sinclair. Just whatever. I still think he'll be good, but I don't know. Still, 14 touches. That's shocking for him. I think he's had genuine excuses the last few weeks, whereas this week, I don't know what his excuse was because he was good last week. Just very bad. Wasn't moving well. He needs to buy. He'll benefit from that. He could have missed a week last week with his injury. It was touch and go, but fair play for him to get up for that. So see how he goes. And it wasn't like he got tagged by Nash or anything. He was on multiple plays at stoppage. He was on Warple. Sometimes was a Nash, so could have been anyone. And looking at the Hawks, so Sicily unreal. He's going to go up 60k or so. So he's going to be very difficult to get in if you don't have him because he's about to have the bye, so you can't really get him next week. He might be gone for you, or you just pay up later. So in this role that he has, freewheeling Tom Stewart role, he's probably D1, even above Dacos, above Dawson. So see how he goes. Glad we got him in this week, but if he misses next week, which I think he will, then deep shit. Moving on to the Rooks, Seamus Mitchell may be injured. Did not look serious. Okay, I didn't think it looked too bad. Might have been an ankle or a knee, I'm not too sure. Thought he grabbed his ankle. Fingers crossed he does well. Day is so frustrating. Oh my goodness. I can't trade him at the moment. We'll assess at the buy if I'm in a position to, which I don't think I am. It's pretty bad. Weddle, 62, he was solid. I thought he was playing a bit more higher up the ground. But move on. Mel vs Frio, I didn't watch this because I was watching the other game, but Petrarca continues to be really good, I guess. Gorn is on edge for DPP. Do you even want Gorn if he is DPP? I think it'd be great for F7 R3 cover. I don't know if we'll actually get into that position, so a bit concerning how we're going to cover the rucks because like Radically is injured, he's got to go. Ryan has lost his ruck role, he's probably has to go. By the end of the buys, McAndrew's no good unless they get another injury in the ruck line. So do you need a Darcy Cameron or maybe a Gorn if he gets DPP in your team? I don't know what you're going to do. I guess Briggs is coming, but you probably want his money for later. I can't really comment much. Chandler subs. I don't know. He just kind of dropped in form, but would have been nice if that happened a few weeks ago. Andy Brayshaw's been massive get for us. Tom's time on ground is back up to 85%, which is what it was when he said he was pain free. Last week it was 70 something, but yeah, big tick for Andy. I think he can go close to top 8 if he's getting 85% Tog, definitely. Pretty stoked with him. Strong, bit of a down, poor disposal week. That's alright, he'll bounce back. Johnson 72, very happy with that if you had to field him especially, and he'll make some. I think he'll get to 300k on maybe on the last buy, fingers crossed. Fife apparently ran out of gas. I can't go near Fife. I know he's cheap and DPP and he rolls good and he's superstar, but he's just way too injury prone. I don't need another injury prone player, but look, he might be okay, but I'd rather Kieran Briggs, but I guess it depends if you want to keep him as cover for the year or if you want him for money. So I think you probably want him as cover for the year, but yeah, I won't be going there. Sturt, disappointing. He had enough game time to prove himself. Is what it is. And then Darcy Hammy started scoring pretty well up until he did the Hammy. So wonder what you do there. You got Wits. I think you take on English for sure. Wits has got the nice buy. I'd probably go to Wits to be honest, but can go all the way down to Briggs and then flip him to Wits after Wits' buy. I think that's definitely a play. Geelong versus the Giants. I saw bits and pieces of this game. I thought Whitfield played good when I saw him, but yeah, only scored 84. Geelong, Tom Stewart, 138. That's just painful because I don't have him for next week. Next week will be the week where he'll be very useful. Not really much to say. I did see a bit of Mullen, O'Sheen Mullen. Thought he was had a really bad turnover at one point, but thought he was good otherwise. So he's one, like Chris Scott is a nightmare to get a read on with rookies. They come in, they come out, they're subs. It's just, I don't know. It's very hard to get a read on them. So I will be waiting for sure until round 14. Not going early on him. And then the Giants, yeah, good to see them get up. Like, massive upset down at GMHBA. Kieran Briggs played alright. Let's got the Blue Moon. Does that mean that's once in a blue moon? Well, we turned up last week on Marshall, and he's averaging pretty good. I think it was like 110 in the VFL. So I think he can be a very good cash cow, and one I'd certainly grab if I could. I'm not sure I can though. It's probably, I can only take one of him or Wardlaw. And then Wardlaw, I'll actually be able to get on the field for round 14, so probably lean Wardlaw. Angwin 61, that's pretty good. Cogs 87, passed off a goal at the end. Probably could have turned up if he kicked that instead of passing it off. And yeah, Fahey can't really comment. Didn't really get enough game time. So hopefully he plays at some point. But I think from what the coaches were making it sound like, they're just gonna. I think he's got some deficiencies he needs to work on, or a few things he needs to work on. Otherwise, putting out massive numbers but not breaking the side. So see how he goes over the next few weeks. Gold Coast versus the Dogs. Matty Rao dominated. I watched most of this game. I think I missed the third quarter. Matty Rao outstanding, 160. Looks like he can be in touch with the top, like the lower end of the top 8 probably. Has the contested game for it. So I think he'll be... I don't know. He looks outstanding, just winning clearance after clearance, so he looks very good. Could you bring him in? It's probably too expensive now, so I'd probably pass, but yeah, I'd be a lot more happier with Rao over Steele in terms of eye test. Jerome Whitler, he had 50 hitouts. I think English had like 20, so pretty much dominated him. I wish I started Wits and Wits didn't get injured, but stars didn't align for that to happen. Anderson disappointing, 92. I guess if you traded, you'd be happy. If you held, then you got to hold now. You got the price drop. It has a good buy. Humphrey 90 had that goal. I think they rested him to like a lot just so he could run out the game. Okay, I don't think they were ever going to sub him, just because he's so good. So yeah, he was solid. So 90, we take that for sure. Hopefully he can get to in the 400s or something. Fiorini disaster, Atkins disaster. They played Jeffrey in the back line, which is what they'd been trying, because there's no room for. Yeah, they got Casbolt, Luco, and King. There's no room for another tall in Jeffrey up the forward line. So they want to. He's a talent. He's good, and they want to play him. So they're trying him down back. And Atkins is not the future. So we kind of knew that, but just thought this bullshit role would keep up for a few more rounds, but not to be. And looking at the Dogs, Jack McRae, well, I think he's a top. I'd like to see the CBAs. I did see him in a few. But yeah, he's looked like the Jack McRae of old the past few weeks. So would love to have him as a pod in the forward line. I think that would be very nice. The buy is pretty rough though, so don't know how that will work. Dale 108. Wow, if you went Dale, you'd be pretty happy with that. It looked like Daniel stayed up the ground, so Dale looks like a very good pick now. Really, really good. I could get Dale in for Atkins, I think. Oh, jeez, I don't know. But the problem is JJ will be back late in the year, so yeah, Dale's gonna be. I think Dale will do 105, no problem with no JJ Johannesson. Richards has dropped off as well. I don't know why. Liver 80. That's his worst score for the year, but he'll bounce back. But should be fine. English 105. Get lost. When I was watching this game, Jones took an intercept. Like these 14 touches, they must have all been intercept marks. I swear, it just looked like he was taking intercept after intercept non-stop. And I think that's about it. We can wrap it up there. So your main takeouts out of this game, this round, I think Sicily is going to be suspended. Atkins is a trade. Briggs and Wardlaw and Ford are probably the three rookies for next week. We'll try and assess that when we see the North boys. Darcy's got to go. Will Day's just frustrating as hell. And then, yeah, a few more things that we discussed. Jack McRae will get forward status, and Gawn is very close, but we don't know. It'll be within probably less than 0.5% whether he gets it or not. Anyway, that's all from me. That is the mid-round review, and we'll see you in the Sunday night round review.